Guys, it's Spaces Sims, and we are back with more Paradigm Paradox, and we are starting our new route today. We are starting Mihaya's route. So I opened up, because I'm assuming we have to start a new game, because we have to go through the common route again. So, we're going to skip everything. I think what I might do is the first choice we get, save, so we can just start there every time. But this kind of gives us, good God, this skips fast. But this gives us a good refresher in case we forget. Oh no, don't play the theme song, even though it's banger. The theme song is so fucking good, guys. It's so good. It's so good, but you know it's copyrighted. Okay, damn, but... Well, okay, there's really no point. That took, what, like 30 fucking seconds? Yeah, so anyway. So for Mihaya, we go to the library. Right. He's a nerdy library boy, so. Students gather here to study, so I thought it might be a good place to check. No sign of them, though. So, okay, I'm assuming the weird little, like, DNA helix-looking thing is showing you that you're on the path for one of the Blooms, the good boys, because, you know, we saw when we were going through, Kamui's route, when it was a Kamui-specific answer, he'd get little flowers over his sprite. And then, like, these ones, it's like, what's this DNA helix thing? I think that because you can see it on all of our uniforms, like our ribbon banding on our dress and his tie and everything, like, that seems to be, like, that kind of symbol. So it's like, and it's also on all of their costumes when they're the girls. It, like, seems to be a pattern, so I feel like that's a choice that shows you're on the path of the good people. And then there's probably going to be something else when we go down one of the bad guys. Which we'll see. We'll see if anybody offers suggestions or what you want to do. If you want to do option A or option B, where we do... Option A is doing all of our good boys first, then do all the bad boys. Or if we want to do 2 good boys, 2 bad boys, 2 good boys, 2 bad boys. I don't know. We'll see what people think. And if nobody suggests anything, I guess I'll be making that decision when we're done with this round. So, anyway. Okay. Who's that over there, boyfriend? It's Mihaya. He's at the library again today. He must really love books. It's so funny because, like, they're adorable, but every once in a while, they all have a version of their sprite that's Muppet-like. And with Kamui's, it was when he had his mouth wide open and he had no teeth or anything, and you're like, that's a Muppet mouth right there. And for Mihaya, it's this one, where his nose is super shadowed. Everybody else has, like, a little, like, Kamui had one where he had a little bit of shadow on his nose or whatever, but this one makes it look like they just drew, like, you know how sometimes Muppets will have a nose that is a different color triangle to their body, you know what I mean? You're like, they're slightly orange, but their nose is a darker orange to accentuate it. Like, that's exactly what he looks like. He's got, like, a Scarecrow Muppet nose going on. And I don't know what. But then there's other sprites and everything else, and their CGs are great, but every once in a while they have a sprite that is kind of fucking messed up. And you're like, that one's... No, it's Muppet-like, and it's a little weird. So that's, like, 1/10 of a point off for me. It's really not. It's just something I noticed, and it's a little like, you're like, please don't make that face. Like, everything about him is adorable, but the nose is distracting me and making him look like a Scarecrow Muppet, and it's bizarre. Is it just me? Is it just me? Or do you see it now and you're like, now you can't unsee it? I didn't say anything about him during Kamui's route, but I noticed it and I was like, nope. But here it is, so. I wonder what he's reading. He seems smart. I bet it's complex stuff. He's got a huge stack of books. Wait, are those manga? An entire series? I was like, it's going to be like kids' pop-up books or some shit. But manga, no, that works. Can I help you? Sorry, it's just, I really like that manga too. Like, see, he's kind of adorable. But he's kind of like babyface adorable. But, like, you know, it's okay. The latest volume's on the shelf. Thanks, I'll go check it out. I feel bad for staring. I'm just surprised that he reads manga. In the end, I didn't find them. I still love the commander. Like, he's my favorite side character. Like, I mean, Gramps gets a special mention. He's great. But, like, side character that I like to oogle, that's our commander. I'm sorry, but if we were going to have an older man that we're going to bone instead of Rio, it should have been the commander. But then the commander would have to be shady. But I'm just saying. He's hotter as... this is it. Anyway, I'm assuming we go to the library again. Yeah, okay. Go to the library again. Diddly! Is there anybody here, I wonder? Hard to find anyone with all these bookshelves in the way. Are you borrowing that book? What? No, I'm not. Give it here. I'm going to check it out. Sorry, here you go. He's only a first-year student, but he has a real air of gravitas about him. Or maybe he actually doesn't have an ounce of gravitas, whatever. And I'm just a dingbat. I like the fact that they use the word dingbat. I mean, why am I lurking around and getting in the way if I'm not borrowing a book? You know, I gotta be honest, like, the conversations and the language and the things that they do is actually really good in this game. You know what I mean? Alright, so this is just standard fighting scenes. We've kind of done all these. Granted, to be fair, we could reread the entire fucking game over because it didn't really take that long, the common run. I think it only took a couple hours. But that's a couple hours, you know. Oh, do we say thank you this time? I wonder. No, we say I'll do it myself. I'm going to guess thank you is good for Rio and not for anyone else. Right, because that makes sense. Research district, maybe? Because... oh, no. It's probably business district again. Because Mihayo was there with Kamui. Yeah, okay. So this one's the same. And this is where we get our little CG of all three of us, which it skipped past. Humans, obviously, I would assume. Yeah, okay. So a lot of these are the same choices, it's just where you go, so. Or, depending on when you go down the bad path, you'll get different choices, so. Attack the vectors! Yeah. Speak to Moravia would probably be good for Ibuki, but... or just the bad guy's path in general. So we'll get through the whole common route probably in like another 5 minutes, if that. I'm assuming I'm worried about Lizzie kills us. Didn't we? No, I don't know. I think she'll be fine. Okay, so then I'm worried about Lizzie's probably leading us to the bad guys because we might go after her and then we run into them and then they talk to us and more chances to run into them leads to like whatever. I'm starting to think that maybe we should do the bad guys next after this. You know what I mean? Asking Kaori for help would be good for Kaori. Do nothing probably would be a bad... what are you doing, bird? And then defeat is probably the right one again. To justice. Defeat Lizzie. Okay, yeah, so that must... yeah. I'm gonna guess we go to the library again. Yup, go to the library again. I headed to the library in hopes of finding some peace and quiet. There aren't that many people in here. Looks like I'll be able to relax a bit. I searched for an empty spot and found a secluded place between some bookshelves. Are we going to have a moment like we had with Kamui when we went to the tree? Remember, after we defeated Lizzie and then, like, Kamui showed up and he was like, yeah, you know, and he kind of gave us some support. And we're like, he must have heard about her, you know? And, like, Mihaya's going to do the same thing now. Sweet. Listen, I don't care if they repeat the same thing, like, they do the same thing and give us a little CG and he's kind of being supportive because, like... this is where he always hangs out, and he knows who we are, you know what I mean? He's one of our friends. Granted, we think he's Mocha, but... finally, some space to hear myself think. Oh, wait. On closer inspection, someone else was already here. Mihaya looks like he's pretty deep in thought. I should probably leave. I turned to go, but Mihaya stopped me. Aw. Wait a minute. Did you need something from here? It's not important. I was just looking for a quiet place to relax. So it is a CG, by the way. Sorry. Like, Like, he looks so pretty in it. Like, you know? Like, he looks a lot... I think he looks prettier in his CGs. Like, he's adorable, but he does have a little kind of baby face. But in this, he's just has pretty face. You know, in his CGs. Well, at least this one so far. I think he looked fine in the first one that we saw with them in the business district, but we didn't get to stick on that one for very... probably should have paused it, but whatever. You're free to stay if you don't mind me around. Or I can move. Huh? But you were here first. I'm not going to kick you out. His response surprised me. I wasn't going to just make him leave. Mihaya was awkwardly looking at the floor. I was just trying to find a quiet place, too. I don't have a particular reason for being here. I don't mind you staying, since you're doing the same thing. Besides, you look a little down, so maybe it'd be nice to have someone here. I could tell Mihaya was trying to be considerate, since he offered to keep me company, despite wanting time alone himself. Mihaya is always so perceptive. I can't think of anyone else as considerate as him. Oh, that reminds me. You helped everyone evacuate yesterday, didn't you? Huh? Sorry to bring it up out of the blue. I just meant I saw you at the time. And today, you noticed I was feeling down and offered to stay with me. It's very kind of you. I'm not really that kind. But you are. You're just like my friend. I knew I'd worry Mihaya more if I talked about Lizzie, but he was just being so nice, it made me want to open up to him. My friend passed away yesterday, but I'm having a hard time accepting it, and it hurts to be around other people right now. That's why I wanted to be alone. Everyone dies eventually. Most people would think that callous of him, but I could feel warmth in his voice. And people can pass away without warning, and there are times where you don't get to say goodbye. It's unreasonable to try to force yourself to move on immediately. Mihaya's voice carried a seriousness that told me he'd been through something like this before. But I can't just ask him. Now's not the right time. We remained quiet for a while after that. I never thought staying silent could be so soothing. Oh, and then we're back to being the Blooms. And I got birds in my hand, so I gotta reach over. We stopped the argument again. Okay, hold on. Stop the argument again. Stop it! Stop it, girls! Well, that's because, was it between Mocha and Sena? That makes sense. Okay. Oh, it'd been 2 weeks since the Vector attack during the day. I've been continuing with the Bloom's mission as usual. But my feelings have drastically changed, and I can't bring myself to face the Vectors head on. Okay, I just scrolled up, and, okay. I wanted to scroll up because, like, where we stopped skipping, so now we're probably full on in Mihaya's route, so. There you go. That only took what time? What is it? 13 minutes? Anyway. Vectors! They're coming this way! One of them dodged Kaori and Haruka's attacks and took a giant leap, landing right in front of me. I have to attack. I assumed an offensive stance out of habit, but when I looked at the Vector, all I could think of was Lizzie. She turned into a Vector, and I took her down. My memory of Lizzie overlapped with the Vector in front of me, and I felt like I was going to be sick. My strength dissipated with every shaky step I took. Snap out of it! Haruka's sharp voice brought me back to my senses, and I saw that she was now standing between me and the Vector. The creature had backed up quite a bit by now. It immediately lunged after Haruka. Kaori stepped up next to me, giving me a once-over before turning her attention forward. You just need to provide support for now. Let's go. Okay, you can count on me. Thanks to Kaori's encouragement, I managed to start moving again. Fight together with Kaori, cast Augment on Kaori. I think this is interesting because we should be in Mihaya's route, but okay. Then since we're not trying to... Well, fighting with Kaori, to me, would be like benefiting Tokyo's route, right? But it's not like there's a split here. We're already in Mihaya's route. So then Augment, I guess, because that's like fighting, like, okay, if we're trying to impress Mocha / Mihaya, right? Fighting with Kaori would be like, we're abandoning you to go fight with her. Augment on Kaori is like, I'm going to support you and not fight. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Anyway, it is cast Augment. Okay, cool, yeah. That makes sense. Oh no, that's just a good choice for them. Okay, that's just a good girl power choice. I'll cast Augment on you, Kaori. I hurriedly suggested that as the Vector turned its attention our way again. Thanks, I'll be able to handle it by myself that way. Kaori flashed me a smile, then spoke to Haruka. Haruka, you stay here. I got it. She's having Haruka stay with me because I've been having trouble. Feeling sorry for making them worry, I held on to Kaori and cast Augment. Once she'd been boosted, Kaori flew off toward the Vector. Take that! Kaori's fist surged with power and she struck the Vector repeatedly in the chest. The Vector stumbled backward upon impact and eventually vanished. And that's it then. Yeah, I hadn't really done anything until the end of the battle. And even that wasn't much. It should be, and even that wasn't much, but I don't know why there's a comma there. It seems weird. Anyway, still, an overwhelming fatigue hit me, and I sat down on the spot. Superb work, everyone. Mission complete. I heard footsteps approaching and turned to see Sena and Mocha coming toward us. They'd been on support as well. I didn't get to do a whole lot this time around. Hey, what's up with you? Oh, I think I'm just tired. Tired? But this was a normal mission. And now that you mention it, you've been awful sluggish lately. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not blaming you or anything. No need to apologize. It's natural considering what happened. Like, look, I'm sorry, Mocha's adorable. I love her boyfriends in their girlfriend form. Like, she's adorable. Look at her. She's the sweetest little face. Thanks. Mocha reached out a hand to me. I took it and she pulled me up as she continued talking. I know it's rough right now, but remember, you'll see your friend again soon enough. Huh? Shocked by Mocha's words, I accidentally let go of her hand and fell squarely on my behind. Ow! What are you doing? Though astonished by my fall, Mocha's expression was so calm that I couldn't believe she'd said what she'd said. What did you mean by that? Just what I said. And look, it's very shocking to lose a friend the way you did. That's why you can't recover from it. You don't even know where to start. Yeah, that's true. But none of us know but none of us know when we're gonna die. So odds are you'll be seeing your friends sooner than you think. That's what I find comforting to think about in these situations, at least. I froze, not knowing how to respond. Mocha just sighed at me and then walked over to where the others were. I mean, it sounds a little like fucked up when you're like, I mean, you're gonna die someday, so probably sooner than later. Peace out. Like, that sounds kind of douchey. You're like, what the fuck? But it's kind of not untrue. You know what I mean? Like you really don't know when you're gonna die, so, you know, yeah, it sucks if people are like, you know, you probably see her sooner than you think. It's a little dark, but the validity behind, you know, I'm going to see her eventually because I'm going to die and you never know when you're going to die. And it's kind of like, true, just live life to the fullest because you never know, you could die tomorrow. So if you know, don't enjoy every day, you know, I mean, same, everybody's heard all those things before, but like, it just sounds cold, but it's not really, like, it's not true, so. And sometimes the truth is cold, you know? She wasn't being mean about it. I think she was trying to be helpful. And also, like, she finds solace in the, like, hey, I've lost people and it's really sad, but I know I'll see them again someday. Probably sooner than I think. It's not going to be 100 years or 1,000 years. It might only be 15, 20, 30. It could be 80. Who knows? But it ain't going to be long. You know what I mean? In the scheme of the universe. But those supposed words of comfort felt a bit extreme, especially for someone so young. After a while, Sena called out to me. Well, that just says Mocha's got some secrets. We know. What's this? I thought Mocha helped you up. Are you unable to stand? Oh, no, I'm fine. I can stand. Mocha helped me earlier, but I just fell over again. Oh my, are you all right? You must be quite tired. I wondered whether I should talk to Sena about what Mocha said, but I ended up saying nothing. I hadn't figured things out myself, and it would just worry Sena if I brought it up now. Let's go back, shall we? I, for one, am exhausted. Yeah. I was sure Sana said that to be considerate, and I silently thanked her as we headed back to the command center. I wonder what kind of person Mocha is, considering what she said. After our debrief, I couldn't help but think about my earlier conversation with Mocha. We spent a lot of time together, but now that I thought about it, I didn't know anything about her day-to-day life or who she was. You are not heading out? Oh, I guess we're all done, huh? Rio had shaken me from my thoughts, and when I looked around, I saw everyone else had already left the command center. I'll go right now. See you later! Wait. Rio called out to me to stop me from rushing off. Your clothes are dirty. Did you fall? I looked to where Rio indicated. Sure enough, the back of my skirt had dirt on it. Why are you looking at my ass, man? Make sure to take care of it before you undo your transformation. Right, I will. Thanks. It must have gotten dirty when I fell backwards. As I dusted myself off, a thought struck me. Rio assists with logistical support for the Blooms, so I wonder if he knows about the other members. Well, you should have been. I was like, why were you looking at my ass? Asking might not yield much information, but it couldn't hurt to try. So, I had something I wanted to ask you. You don't often want to speak with me. What do you want to know? He seemed a bit taken aback by my sudden question, but was open to talking. I breathed a sigh of relief. What kind of person would you say Mocha is? Why are you asking me? You two fight alongside each other. You'd have a much better idea. Maybe I didn't explain my question well enough. Rio eyed me with suspicion, so I hurried to clarify. That's true, but what I mean is, I don't know anything about Mocha's background or her life outside the Blooms. She said something that really bothered me earlier. I'd been thinking about my friend, and she noticed I wasn't fighting very well. So she said to remember that I'd probably see my friend soon, since we could lose our lives at any moment. I thought that was a little extreme. I wasn't sure what to make of that, and it also made me worry about her if she could say something like that so nonchalantly. You've got other things to worry about. His voice held a bit of disdain, which made me feel even more embarrassed. He's right. I have to pull myself together before I can worry about other people. I fell silent. Perhaps Rio considered my feelings, because he began to speak in a gentler tone. I do understand why that would bother you. From what I know, Mocha's parents both passed away. If what she said stems from losing her parents, I agree it's a bit concerning. Do you know what happened? I was surprised by this revelation, but Rio just shrugged in response. Not really. You could just ask her yourself. With that, Rio went back to work, ending our conversation. But like Rio pointed out, if what Mocha said was related to her own experience, it was all the more worrying. A few days later, we all gathered in the command center after being informed of a unique mission that didn't involve the Vectors. It was the first time I'd seen Mocha since that day, and I was still wondering about her. My eyes kept drifting in her direction. Oop, sorry, nope. I accidentally hit my button. I knew if I stared too long, she'd eventually notice. There's something on my face. Pretty. Could you imagine if we said that? Oh, no, there isn't. Oh, good. Then what's with that staring? I didn't realize I was. I tried to play it off and was thankfully saved by the commander entering the room. According to the commander, we had to go outside of Theta for today's mission. Unlike regular people, us Blooms could go outside the colony without a protective suit for a short time, as long as we were transformed. The higher-ups know that, so they ordered us to find where the Vectors are entering the colony. That was our mission in a nutshell. We'll identify the most likely locations, and then you'll all split up. Oh, and Mocha, don't go near this area. I know. The commander then continued on, designating areas for our investigation. Mocha was the only person he gave special instructions to. I thought it was odd, but no one else seemed to mind. Maybe that's where his parents were killed? Hey, do you know why the commander said that thing to Mocha? I whispered my question to Sana, who was next to me. She looked a bit confused as she answered. You mean about avoiding that particular area? I do not know the reason, but Mocha's never been allowed to go there. Even if we're required to go over there for a mission, Mocha's instructed not to get too close. I see. I didn't know that. I do not believe we've had to go there since you joined the Blooms, and therefore you had no reason to know. Why? Are you concerned about Mocha? I hesitated a moment, but eventually nodded. Yeah, something happened, and now I'm worried about her. Then you should ask her. It's not intended to be a secret. Sana's encouraging response hardened my resolve. She's right, and Rio said the same thing. If I'm worried about Mocha, I should just talk to her. As we headed out, I decided I would speak with her after the mission. A few hours later, I'd finished investigating my assigned area and was about to return to the command center. Then I spotted someone near the outer wall. It's rare for people to go near the outer wall. Wait, is that Mocha? But she wasn't assigned this area. And didn't the commander tell her to stay away from here? Mocha stood near the gate to the administrative district. She had a fierce look in her eyes and was staring at the gate as if she were facing a vicious foe. Why'd she go there when she wasn't supposed to? She's acting really strange. And she's looking pretty pale, too. Ask if she's alright, continue to watch quietly. I feel like we should just ask if she's alright instead of just staring at her, you know what I mean? Yeah, okay. Sparklies! There you go. That now we know that we got our, Mihai answer. I couldn't just leave her there, so I decided to walk over to her. So I guess the right choice for the individual characters is always going to be like little flowers. Because we're the Blooms, that makes sense. Hey, Mocha, are you alright? What are you doing here? Oh, that's right. This is part of your assigned area. That's right. So what are you doing? Didn't the commander tell you not to come here? You don't look so good. Are you sure you're okay? I asked her out of concern, but Mocha rebuffed me. I'm fine, same as always. You don't have to worry about me. Her tone was normal, but I could see how ashen she looked now that I was closer. But you really don't look well. It's impossible for me not to worry. You've got enough problems. Now's not the time to be getting worked up about others. That's a separate issue. Just because I'm dealing with something doesn't mean I'm not allowed to worry about anyone else. Mocha looked like she was in pain. I couldn't just leave her, but she simply laughed at my response. You're a real softy, aren't you? When you put it like that, it kind of makes me want to talk. Would you tell me why you're here? I didn't want to force her to explain, but like she said, Mocha wasn't trying to hide it. I don't mind. As you've already noticed, I'm not exactly at my best right now. I came here because I need to overcome my trauma. Your trauma? Yeah, this place brings me a lot of pain. It's a mental issue because of some bad stuff that happened in the past. Ever since then, whenever I come here, I start to feel like I can't breathe. That's why the commander told me to stay away. That's awful. Then why come back? Though my question was an innocent one, Mocha's expression hardened. I have to go through there. I can't keep feeling this way, and there are things I have to find out. I thought I'd give it a try since we were already out here, but I couldn't do it. Oh, I see. This thing you have to find out, it must be really important to you. It is. Mocha replied curtly, then grew quiet. I guess she doesn't want to tell me anything more. Continually pressing her would do nothing but satisfy my own selfish curiosity. How about we head back? I'm sure everyone else is finished and is already on their way. You're done too, right? I finished up a long time ago. You were probably the last. I guess I was going pretty slow. I made an effort to sound cheerful, and Mocha followed suit. Hey, don't you think they treat us like dirt? First we gotta find the vectors, and now they're making us do these investigations? Unbelievable. We're not their servants. I'm gonna give the commander a piece of my mind. Though she was complaining, Mocha's expression looked much softer now. But her pained look from earlier lingered in the back of my mind. A few days had passed since I last spoke to Mocha. We hadn't been summoned for any missions, and everyone whiled away the days in peace. At least, that's how it seemed on the surface. However, an undercurrent of tension had remained ever since the Vectors attacked the Academy. We have evacuation drills from time to time, so I assume no one's forgotten about the Vectors. I definitely hadn't, and it wasn't because I was part of the Blooms. It was because Lizzie was my best friend. Break time is the absolute worst now. Lately, people just... Oh, I don't know why my brain could not process the sentence. Lately, people just asking about Lizzie made me feel uncomfortable, so I started leaving the classroom whenever a break rolled around. The time we spent together had turned into nothing but sad memories. It pained me to be at school. We used to have so much fun here, and every inch of the place reminded me of her. I'm sure Lizzie would be angry if she saw me now. She wouldn't want me to remember her with such sadness. But maybe I'm just thinking these things to make myself feel better. It was arrogant to assume Lizzie would watch over me after what I did. The sorrier I was, the more guilt I felt over Lizzie. It was suffocating, crushing me under an immense weight. As my thoughts grew darker, I thought it'd be best to go someplace quiet to collect myself. The library? I need a place I can relax during break. Maybe the library would be good. They don't need us to choose that, because we're already on this boy's path, so. I hadn't been to the library in a while, and it seemed more crowded than usual. Could it be that everyone else is anxious too, and they're all looking for a place to calm down? I looked around, noticing that there were more people sitting alone at desks than congregating with their friends. Wow, okay. No one was paying attention to anyone else. I've heard that sometimes people feel more comfortable just focusing on themselves. I should grab a book and read. Grab a book to read and sit down. Wow. What do I do now? I found a book I wanted to read, but there wasn't anywhere to sit because so many people were in the library. I looked around feeling lost. After pacing back and forth a little, I gave up on finding a seat. All right, I can sit at a desk. Let's see if there are any chairs between the bookshelves. Oh, I can't sit at a desk. Let's see if there are any chairs between the bookshelves. I'd imagine those would be open. Oh, look, here's our boyfriend Shadow. I leaned against a nearby bookshelf and peered into the aisle. At that exact moment, I bumped into someone who was walking out and smacked back into the shelf. Oh, look. We're like, hey, this counts as almost being pinned to a bookshelf. I'm into it. CG. I'm sorry. I apologized and looked up to find Mahaya Araki, a first-year student. It's so funny because he's like a foot taller than her. Didn't I bump into him just the other day? I thought back and yep, something like this just happened at the academy's entrance a little bit ago. He didn't say anything. Maybe I should apologize again. He might think I'm rude because I bumped into him multiple times. Just as I opened my mouth to speak, Mihaya's gaze shifted above my head. I knew that would happen. I love the look on her face right now. He's just like shoving a book in, but it's like, she's like, oh! Well, you're not pinning. Kind of. Almost, sir. It's good enough for me. Oh. When Mihaya whispered that, I realized a book had fallen off the shelf. He knew it was going to happen, so perhaps the book was already close to the edge, and my bumping the shelf was the final push, so to speak. He noticed it falling and caught it. I was going to thank him after I realized what he'd done for me, but he mumbled something before I could. Klutz. What? What he said didn't compute for a moment. As I stood in a daze, Mihaya just walked off somewhere else. Did he just call me what I think he did? It was true I didn't notice the book because I'd been too concerned that I bumped into him. I thought I was more shocked than angry and simply stood there, frozen and speechless. Before long, someone tapped me on the shoulder. I turned to see two girls from my class looking at me curiously. Are you alright, Takanashi? Wasn't that first-year Mihaya? I heard he's pretty cold. Oh, yeah, I think that was him. The way she said that was kind of rude, but maybe it's just me. My classmates rattled on, oblivious to my bewilderment. He's not friendly with anyone. He can also be a bit mean, so I'd be careful if I were you. What did I hear about him? Something about one of his parents passing away, or maybe both of them died in an accident? Yeah, that was it. I don't know if it's true, but people say he shut everyone out since it happened. Some girls try to talk to him out of sympathy, but he does it to everyone. All the first years say they say they just leave him alone now. It seemed like they were trying to describe him objectively, but I couldn't help but notice a trace of malice in their voices. Why would they spread rumors that they aren't even sure are true? Also, like, he shut everyone out because his parents died. That's not where you get malicious. You should feel sad. You should be like, yeah, his parents died, and then, like, he shut everyone out. It's kind of sad, but, like, he doesn't seem to want to talk to anyone, and it's like, there's really not much you can do as a teenager. You know what I mean? But, like, oh my god, his parents died, and now he's a dick. Right? Whatever, asshole. Like, what the fuck? Dude! They're meant to then push us, so we're going to be like, I'm going to be nice to him, because what the shit? There were so many things I didn't understand, but hearing what they said made me feel sick to my stomach. He didn't hurt my feelings. I have to clear things up so they don't get the wrong impression. I was the one at fault. He's not a bad person. I feel like saying he's not a bad person. Because I was the one at fault, but, like, that's just like, oh, no, it was my fault. But, like, that's not defending him. Whereas he's not a bad person is defending him and he might overhear you. Oh, no, I was the one at fault. Okay. All right. Look, it was my fault earlier. I bumped into Mihaya and a book fell over. I tried to explain what happened for the sake of Mihaya's reputation. Then I saw someone coming up behind my classmates. Mihaya? Seeing my surprised expression, the girls looked back suspiciously, then froze when they saw him. You claim I'm unfriendly, yet you're the ones talking behind my back. Which of us do you think is worse? I'd say it's you two, but I'd love to hear your opinion. Mihaya smiled broadly as he spoke. My classmates turned bright red and scuttled away as quickly as they could. If they can't say it to my face, they shouldn't have said it in the first place. Wow, that took guts. He heard someone talking about him behind his back, so he just told them off. Not everyone could do that. I was so impressed that I couldn't help but talk to him about the incident. Did you know those girls? They're in my class, so a different grade than you, but they seem to know a lot about you. Their mean-spiritedness had bothered me, so I wanted to ask about them. Mihaya considered it briefly. No clue. A lot of girls are like that, and I can't remember them all. What do you mean? I don't know why, but a lot of the girls here have tried to talk to me. Both upperclassmen and ones in my grade. At first they tell me I was cute or offer their sympathies. But then they turn on me when I didn't reciprocate. I wonder if those girls were just talking about themselves then. Possibly. I don't remember their faces, so I'm not sure. Mihaya sighed, clearly annoyed with them. I could empathize. Even after hearing both sides, I still thought the girls were in the wrong. Mihaya never asked for their attention. Considering all that, I admired how he was able to stand up to them. Also, if they came and they were being nice to him, like, oh, hi, like, oh my god, you're super cute, and I feel really bad that your parents died, and he's like, okay, thanks, whatever, and walks away, you're like, okay, that's rude, but, like, also, like, oh my god, hi, you're so cute, and he doesn't fawn over you. Like, don't be a dick to him just because of that. You know? They're used to Kamui. Oh my god, hi! And then he, like, fawns all over you, just for the hell of it. Like, Kamui's done a real number on this school. Like, I think you're pretty amazing. You were able to point out how wrong they were right then and there. I didn't do anything special. They were being irritating, so I said something. I usually let them say whatever they want and ignore it. But you were standing up for me, so I couldn't just abandon you. Oh, sorry. I realized he came back over because of me, so I apologized. Mihaya's expression softened. You just worry about yourself. Everyone has their own problems, and I think things are especially tough for you right now. I couldn't just stand by. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm sorry you said all that because of me. Why are you apologizing? You didn't do anything wrong either. You really are a softie. No, it's not that. A strange sensation of déjà vu suddenly came over me. It's like I've had this conversation before. I tried to remember, but was drawing a blank, so I turned my attention back to thanking Mihaya. Thanks for protecting me from that falling book earlier. Ignoring the fact that he called me a klutz, he did help me. He helped me out, so I didn't want them to misunderstand what happened. I thought I should clarify that. I understand your logic, but I don't care what people think about me. You don't have to defend me, even if something similar happens again. It could harm your reputation. But it's not right for people to talk badly about you when you haven't done anything wrong. That's just how people are. They don't like anyone who's different from them. But that's not fair! I raised my voice without thinking, and Mihaya quietly shushed me. I'll be fine. And we're in the library, remember? We should go outside if you want to talk. Yeah, sorry. We'd bothered everyone else if we continued to talk here, so I got up to leave. Mihaya quickly interrupted me. Wait, that's not quite what I meant. Weren't you looking for a seat? There's one over there. I looked and saw an empty seat toward the back of the aisle between two shelves. So there is. Thanks for pointing it out. Mihaya grinned back at me. It feels like all you've been saying is thank you or sorry. I guess so. Sorry. You did it again. I did, didn't I? Mihaya's smile wasn't the sarcastic grin from earlier. It looked so genuine I couldn't help but return a smile of my own. You're a very trusting person. I get the feeling someone might try to swindle you someday. I'd be on the lookout for that if I were you. He spoke very politely, which was weird considering he was younger than me. I wasn't quite sure what to say. He departed soon after that. I guess I should go sit down. Once I was in my chair, I realized something. Wait a minute. Mihaya came out of this aisle. Was he sitting here? I looked everywhere and couldn't find a single seat, and I was positive I checked this aisle as well. Maybe Mihaya noticed me and gave me a seat. But that seems almost too convenient. He can be kind, though. He protected me from that falling book, and he also came back when I was talking with my classmates. He said I didn't need to defend him because it would hurt my reputation, too. Each individual statement he made could be seen as unfriendly, and he certainly doesn't mince words. But his actions were very thoughtful. When I thought about it that way, it probably wasn't a coincidence that he gave me his seat. That night, I wrote to Uncle Yashima as part of my nightly routine and thought over all that happened today. Mihaya was at the forefront of my mind. If the rumors are true and he lost both his parents, we might be in a similar situation. Though the way people react to us is different. At the very least, no one's coming up to me and trying to talk to me out of sympathy. I thought about the way those girls said that and felt irritated. If someone said something like that to me, I'd tell them it wasn't any of their business. My parents passed away a long time ago, but I felt it keenly when I thought about Lizzie. See, the thing is like, the difference is we don't remember our parents, and him losing his parents could have been more recent, you know? Some people have said kind things to me, but just talking about it was painful, and so I'd started to avoid them. That's why I went to the library during break today. I wanted to avoid people, to find some peace and quiet where no one would remind me of my wounds. Given how I felt now, I knew I would hate it if people kept giving me unwanted attention. As I thought more about my day, a smile came to my face as I remembered how Mihaya talked back to those girls. Maybe he stood up for himself when he wanted to be left alone, instead of running away like me. That's just an assumption, but maybe it's not too far from the truth. I could believe it after seeing Mihaya's strength and kindness. The next day, I went to the library again for the same reason. I don't want to talk with anybody. Maybe I'm running away, but I just want some peace and quiet. Oh, wait, that's... I think that girl lost her family in the previous attack. I guess she finds the library calming, too. I watched as she walked away and then noticed something drop onto the floor. A hair clip? Doesn't seem like she noticed that she dropped it. I went to pick it up, but somebody beat me to it. Oh, it's Mihaya. Mihaya hadn't noticed me yet. He stooped to pick up the hair clip, looking concerned. He probably doesn't know who it belongs to. He clearly hadn't seen the exact moment she dropped it. But he didn't ignore it and took the time to pick it up. After observing this, I went over to him. Hey, Mihaya, I saw you drop that earlier. I can give it back to her if you like. Huh? Oh, thanks. He looked surprised when I called out to him so suddenly. Though he was hesitant, he handed over the hair clip. I'll go give it back to her now. With that, I ran over to the girl. She was a bit further away by now. Hey, is this hair clip yours? Oh, yes, it's mine. Thank you so much. It's my favorite. I'm so glad you found it. You're welcome. I wasn't the one who found it, though. It was Mihaya. Huh? I turned to point out who picked it up, but Mihaya was already halfway out of the library. Mihaya Araki, a first year, found it. I just offered to return it, so I'll pass on your thanks to him. I explained the situation to her, then went after Mihaya. I saw you drop it and we both went to pick it up. Mihaya! Luckily, he was still near the library, so I was able to find him right away. What is it? The girl wanted to thank you. She said it was her favorite clip, so she was happy you found it. You came over just to tell me that? He looked a bit surprised. I decided this might be a good opportunity to ask him about yesterday as well. Well, partly. I also wanted to ask, you remember how you pointed out that seat to me yesterday? I was wondering if that had been your seat and you gave it up for me. My voice was timid as I asked, and Mihaya awkwardly looked away from me. I wasn't trying to be considerate. You were just going so slow I couldn't bear to watch, that's all. Well, if that's all, then I'll be going now. Mihaya hurried away, and I didn't try to stop him. His words might have been curt, but their underlying meaning made me happy. So he did give up his seat for me. After seeing him pick up that hair clip and finding out what he did for me yesterday, I knew he must have a kind heart. Sorry, bird, my hand itched. It's easy to misjudge him because of his choice of words and general demeanor, though. But I'm sure he's just trying to hide his embarrassment. When I thought about it that way, I didn't really mind that he'd called me a klutz. What should I do? I returned to the dorm that night and waffled over an idea I'd had. I want to thank Mihaya, but he might find that annoying. As I thought about it, I found it strange that I was trying to get to know Mihaya when he actively avoided people. Maybe it's because we both lost our parents and I'm feeling some kind of affinity toward him? But I wondered if it was any different. I wondered if I was any different from the people who talked to him because I felt sorry for him. But when I seriously thought about it, I realized I simply wanted to talk to him as a person. I guess it'd be okay to try, right? But I still wasn't confident, so I decided to ask Uncle Yashima for advice. Okay, sent. Now, I should probably get things ready. After sending the message to Uncle Yashima, I left my room to prep the little surprise I'd come up with. Uncle Yashima, should I try to get to know this person and give them a surprise? Gonna go do it anyway. Huh, he responded already? I returned to my room after a little while to find the new mail icon up on this computer screen. I eagerly checked it. Sure enough, Uncle Yashima had written back to me. He probably responded so fast because I needed his advice. I steeled my nerves as I started to read the message. He began with his usual kind greetings. You seem to be doing well. I was relieved when I saw you asking for advice. It sounds to me like you've found someone you truly want to talk to. I'm glad to know you've been feeling a little more positive lately. So you're worried that it'll seem like you're trying to get to know him for some superficial reason. But if you tell him how you honestly feel, he'll understand that's not what you're doing. If you like the fact that he's kind and possesses a strong character, just tell him. Words spoken from the heart will always ring true. I read through my uncle's message, gaining courage from his words. All right, I'll do it. I set to wrapping the little gift I'd made in the dorm cafeteria. As I worked, I wondered how Mihaya would react to receiving a present out of the blue. And then for some reason, Mocha came to mind. I've been worried about Mocha too. It hit me what I'd made for Mihaya would actually be a perfect gift for Mocha as well. Golly gee darn it, you don't say! I haven't seen her recently because we haven't had any missions. But I made a lot of this, so I'll wrap some up for her too. Oh my god, that's so fucking cute. Of course, I didn't know where she lived. I decided to put the present in my bag so that I could be ready the next time I saw her. I made a lot of this. It sounds like cookies or something. Report obtained. The next day, I left the dorm in high spirits, but then realized I had no plan for giving Mihaya his present. It was tricky because he was an underclassman. It'd be awkward if I just barged into his class. He definitely wouldn't like that. I wonder if he'll be in the library during break again. I didn't know of any other places that he'd be, so it was my best bet. I peeked inside the library when break time came around. Since lunch had just begun, there was barely anyone in there. Fortunately, my guess had been spot on, and I found Mihaya sitting right there. Hey, Mihaya, do you have a minute? Mihaya had been reading a book, and he looked up at me with an irritated frown. Frowned? Frown. What's the matter? There are plenty of open seats today. Nothing's the matter. I just wanted to thank you again. You've already thanked me enough. He looked at me suspiciously. He looked at my suspiciously. It says my. I read it right, though, at least. I nervously drew out the wrapped present. I brought you a little something. Though I guess you might think it's weird, since we're not that close. Perhaps I'd gone a little overboard. I opened my mouth to try and salvage the situation, but Mihaya spoke instead. What is it? Cookies. I learned how to make them from my friend who used to bake a lot. I think they're really good. I hope you like them. Cookies. I couldn't tell whether he liked them or not. My nerves were still on edge as he stood up. I should be like, okay, bye, run. You don't like them? I guess homemade cookies are a bit too much. Come on. What? Let's go outside. Mihaya didn't say anything more and just walked out. I had no choice but to follow him. He brought me to the roof. So why'd we come out here? You brought food into the library. And we're not allowed to eat in there. Oh, right. Wait, Mihaya said the word eat. Does that mean he's going to eat them right away? The whole exchange took me by surprise. I watched as Mihaya sat down on an open bench. All right, let's try these. Mihaya opened the wrapping and began to eat a cookie. I plopped down next to him on the bench. What do you think? I asked him somewhat cautiously, and he responded with annoyance. Didn't you say they were really good? I meant I thought they were good when my friend made them. I did taste these ones, but it's hard to judge my own baking. I guess I shouldn't have given them as a gift when I wasn't confident in the first place. Look, you're proud of these cookies, right? Then just have confidence in them. Besides, I wouldn't be eating them if they were terrible. His choice of words could still use some work, but I could tell he was trying to say they were good, which made me happy. He's saying they're not terrible, so... Is this friend the one who passed away? I remembered that I talked to him in the library right after the attack. My chest began to ache when I thought about it, but Mihaya had said some kind things to me at the time as well. That's right. Back then, Mihaya said he'd gone through something similar. After remembering that, I figured I could talk to him about Lizzie. Yeah, her name was Lizzie, and she was my best friend. She gave me this recipe. I think doing things like this is a nice way to honor someone who's passed away. You're creating something out of what she left behind. I'm sure your friend would be proud. I hope so. I couldn't believe that Lizzie would still like me after what I did to her. But hearing those words made me want to believe it was possible. I won't ask for her forgiveness, but I hope it would have made her happy to know I'm cherishing what she left behind. I grew quiet, lost in my thoughts. Mihaya began talking again, his voice tinged with concern. Here's the thing, we're feeling guilty, Lizzie would be mad about what I did to her. It's I don't know about that. You have to think, yeah, if I'm just me and then you, literally punched me to death, I'd probably be pissed about it. But I turned into a monster, and what are your options? Let me kill and just other people and destroy other people's lives by, turning other family members of theirs into vectors and, whatever. So not only did I just turn somebody else into a monster, essentially killing who they were, but their whole family is now sad because they're essentially dead. Would I be no, thanks for putting me out of my misery and killing me so that I'm not a fucking monster and I'm not destroying other people's lives. But it's the survivor guilt thing. But you know what I mean? We got to come to terms with the fact that Lizzie would probably not want to be a vector, you know? And by the way, are you not eating lunch? And then again, I guess I haven't had anything either. I just got the impression you were the type to never veer from your schedule. Something about the way he said it sounded a bit like an insult, but I decided to leave it for now. And don't tell me you skipped it just to give me this. Oh no, I brought my lunch with me. Want to share? Mihaya's eyes widened with surprise at my enthusiastic offer. I guess you're the type that gets carried away easily. Or do you just enjoy giving food to people? Actually, why are you even bothering with me? Mihaya appeared to be genuinely confused, so I decided to follow Uncle Yashima's advice and tell him my honest feelings. After our interactions in the library yesterday and the day before, I got to thinking, you're a little difficult to understand, but I know you have a kind heart. And you speak up when you have to, even to people who are older than you. I think you're amazing. Because of all that, I realize I want to learn more about you, to talk with you more, and find out what kind of person you are. So I brought you those cookies in hopes of getting the ball rolling. Sorry, I'm probably weirding you out, saying all this out of nowhere. I looked away from him, my confidence waning the more I talked, but then Mihaya said something I wasn't expecting. I'm not weirded out. I already knew you were like this. But you do realize you're a grade above me, right? It's not exactly cool to say that kind of stuff to someone younger than you. Don't you have any pride? Well, I didn't expect he'd worry this much over what I said. I thought, though, that I thought through what would be the best response. That's not my kind of pride. That's how I honestly feel. I feel like that's how I honestly feel. You know what I mean? It's probably the right answer. I just dropped my phone. Yeah, that's how I honestly feel. It was sitting on my lap, but I can't really move because I got one hand on the bird because he's snuggled and like... People can be amazing regardless of age. I think you're amazing even if you're younger, and I just wanted to be honest about that. Is that such a bad thing? I'm sorry you wanted me to pet you, but then you bite. You're so nasty. Perhaps I caught him off guard by posing a question of my own, but his eyes widened in surprise. And then, for some reason, he quickly averted his gaze. You really are so... I didn't quite catch what he said, but Mihaya continued before I could ask. It's not a bad thing. But it's probably best not to go around saying stuff like that so carelessly. It's embarrassing. Oh, sorry. No, I didn't mean it like that. Mihaya hurried to stop me when I began apologizing. It's not embarrassing for you, but for me. When you tell me how you honestly feel, it just makes me feel a little embarrassed. I looked over and saw a faint blush forming on his cheek, which caused me to feel flustered myself. Oh, he really is blushing, look at it. After a brief silence, Mihaya continued. So is it really okay if we split that? Huh? Your lunch. You asked me if I wanted to share. Yeah, of course, let's do it. I brandished my lunchbox with enthusiasm and laid everything out in front of Mihaya. Oh, look, we got a little CG and he looks so happy. It's so cute. That's a lot of food, and you have 2 pairs of chopsticks. And don't tell me this was your plan all along. What? No, it totally just ended up that way. If you didn't take the cookies, I wouldn't have brought this all out. So you're saying you would have eaten all this if I hadn't accepted? Well, sure. I think I can eat it all by myself, though maybe it's a little much. I mumbled that last part to myself, and Mihaya burst out laughing. Oh, it's definitely too much, and nobody can eat all that in one sitting. I don't know if you don't think things through or just overly enthusiastic, but I do know that you're funny. It actually makes it feel like you're not older at all. That one doesn't feel like a compliment. I was skeptical, but Mihaya shook his head. No, it is. I mean, you're easy to talk to. I'd actually like it if we could be friends. I don't think people should let things like age get in the way. And I assume you don't think that matters either, right? Yep, age ain't nothing but a number to me. Well, good. Wait a minute. Though I was glad to hear he felt that way, a horrible realization struck me just then. What is it? I just realized, did I ever introduce myself to you? And here I was acting all friendly toward him. I frantically tried to recall whether I told him my name when Mihaya spoke up. I know your name. It's Spacey Takanashi. We've had multiple conversations and you only thought of that just now? Well, now that that's out of the way, I guess we can call ourselves friends. Mihaya saying that reminded me of something. It's been a while since someone at the academy said I was their friend. Ever since Lizzie passed away, the Blooms members were the only people who were somewhat close to me. I never imagined I'd feel that close to someone again. And I was especially happy it was Mihaya who wanted to be friends with me. Aww. And then frowny face sexy man. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this part up here and we will continue Mihaya's route next time. So I will see you next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.